guys, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Excuse my voice, I have been very sick lately. So I've already done my eyebrows with my Benefit brow pencil, and I have already moisturized my face with my Mary Kay moisturizer, which is my favorite. And we're going to go into with the primer, the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, the pore minimizing one, and I'm only going to be applying that on the T-zone because I've noticed that if I apply it all over my face, because I have oily skin, my face is gonna get oilier faster. And I am going to be using the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation, which is new. I am in the shade 1.5. I just purchased this from Ulta, and I have to say the coverage is amazing. However, I do have oily skin, like I've said before, and I've noticed that it doesn't last all day as the L'Oreal Pro Matte foundation I was wearing before. But as far as coverage, it is very good. It does oxidize darker than it looks, so I did get the 1.5 because I thought it was just as light as my face is, and I figured because I usually use foundation just a bit darker, I figure once it dries up it'll be darker, and it is. So it matches my skin perfectly once it dries up. But when I'm applying it, it does look like, you know, Casper's in the house. And I am going to be applying that, like I said, with a makeup sponge or a beauty blender, whatever you have at hand, or a stippling brush, whatever you prefer. And I am also going to apologize because I haven't done this in a while. I moved and I'm in a temporary place right now, so I was out of focus pretty much the entire video. So I am going to go straight to the eyes, and we're going to be using the Smashbox Eye Primer, which at the moment has become one of my favorite eye primer. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. I actually have a few. And a little bit goes a long way. And I am going to be using for my eyes, we are going to set that eye primer with a natural skin color eyeshadow or powder, whatever you have in hand. I'm just using the powder that comes in the contour palette. And we're going to be using my Tarte palette that I just purchased. It doesn't really have a name, but it's that one right there. It has, so it has 24 colors, 24 eyeshadows, beautiful colors, very pigmented. And I have to say, Tarte is becoming one of my favorite makeup brands out there. I mean, they're coming out with the bomb colors. The formulas are amazing, and it also has a little drawer you pull out. It has like a little contour palette, it has a lip gloss, and it has a mascara. Like I said, Tarte is coming out with amazing products. I am really becoming a fan of them. And we're going to get started. That is actually the brush that came with the Tarte palette. We are going to be using the color Renaissance Woman, that one right there. And that one is like a natural skin. It is a little darker than my skin, so it's perfect as a transition color. And we're going to be applying that on the crease, just very deliberately. We're not going to be just all over the crease. That's going to be the first transition color that we are going to use. To be using that doodle color. It's called Doodle, and it's like a burnt orange, perfect for fall, but if you, depending on the color you mix it with, it's perfect for all year round. And we're going to be using a Morphe brush. I don't have the brush with me right now, so I don't know the number, but it's just a crease brush from their Chrome collection. And we are going to be using, for our lid, we are going to be using the color Contrast, and that is like a dark purpley color. And we're going to be applying that with a Technique brush. It's a small, precise brush, and we're just going to be applying that on our lid. And you know, just apply it as dark or as light as you prefer. I wanted it to be a little darker, so I did a couple of layers. And we're going back to that doodle color with the Morphe brush, and we're going back to the crease just to clean everything out. Remember, blending is key. We don't want any harsh lines because we look crazy with harsh lines. And we're going back to the palette, and I didn't take a picture of the color, but it's the color Abstract, and it's just like a light shimmery color, great for the inner corner. And we are just going to be applying that on the inner corner of our eyes, and then going back with the purple again to blend everything together. We don't want any harsh lines. And there I'm just taking a Smashbox pencil brush, and we are going to start using that same color that we applied in our crease, the first color, the Renaissance Woman, and we're going to be applying that on our lower lash line. Basically the same thing we did in the top, we're going to do at the bottom, except I'm not going to be applying that doodle color. It's just going to be that Renaissance Woman, and then we're going with that same brush and we're going to be applying that dark purple color called Contrast. And as tight as you can to the lash line. And then we're going to take that pencil, my camera was not focusing, which is from Mally Cosmetics. It's an Evercolor Straight Starlight Waterproof Liner. It's in a purple shade. I don't have that, doesn't have the name. So it's just a purple shade, and we're going to be applying that on our waterline. Then we're taking that mascara that came in the palette, and we're going to be applying that right before our lashes. So now we're going to our lashes, and I use the Cocoa Lashes in Queen Bee. And after I've applied my lashes, I'm going now to do my concealer, to brighten up our eyes and clean up any mistakes that we have done. We can actually use this technique to give us that cut in the eyeshadow, to cut it out and make it really sharp, really crisp line. We don't always have to use Scotch tape. There's different ways of cleaning it out. I'm not really going for that crisp line, but I just wanted to, brighten that area and clean out correct any mistakes I had made with the eyeshadow. And as you can see, I'm out of focus, sorry. So I'm taking the Mary Kay setting powder, and I am going to set that concealer because we don't want any creasing. We don't want to be looking crazy. And I'm actually using it with the damp makeup sponge. I actually apply that on top of the concealer, and it works great for me. I actually tried that with one of the Tarte powders, and it was horrible. So the Mary Kay works great for that. So we're going back to that Tarte contour palette. We are going to be taking those two colors right there because I am so fair. I have to use those two colors. I cannot just use the darker one. But the light one sometimes is just not dark enough for me. So I am going to be applying that, to the hollows of our cheeks. Try to make our face look thinner than it is. And we are going to be applying that with that flat brush, and it makes such a difference when we do contour, girls. It just makes all the difference in the world. If you have, if you're overweight, if you have big cheeks, fat cheeks, whatever you want to call it, it's a great technique just to thin out your face without having to actually lose the weight. So it's a great technique. I love using that. And there I took a little bit too much of the dark color, so it looks extremely dark, and we don't want that either because it doesn't look blended, it doesn't look natural. So we're going to take the damp makeup sponge, and we're gonna we take some of that out, and then we're gonna go back over with the lighter color and blend it and clean it up as much as possible. And now we're taking that NYX Ombre Blush in the color Mauve, and we are going to be using that as our blush today. That is my favorite color of blush right at the moment. That is my favorite one. I love that mauve color, not only in blushes, but I love it in lipsticks. I'm really into nudes, and those are just my favorite colors. And because this was a fall look, I didn't want to go with a nude lip. but you can, of course, if you want to, you can do whatever you want. Who am I to tell you otherwise? But I went with a darker lip. Of course, I used one of my Dose of Colors lipsticks, liquid lipsticks in the shade Mood. But before that, I am going to be applying that highlighter from the Anastasia collection. And I believe that's Pearl Crush. And I forgot to contour my nose, girls, and no. So we are going to go back to that palette, and the contour palette, and we are going to thin out our nose, because you know what, this is the cheapest way to do it without getting up a nose job. So yes, I'm going to go for that. Like I said, there I am with the Mood color, that dark liquid lipstick, and I went back to the palette because I wanted it to be just a little more darker and kind of shimmery. So I went back and I actually used the color Kaleidoscope, which is like a shimmery purple burgundy color. It's a beautiful color. So I went and I applied that over the purple color just to intensify the look, just to make it a bit more purple. And like I said, just a little bit shimmery, not too much, just a bit. And I did the same thing on the lower lash line as well. Does anybody else make that crazy face when they're doing their lash line? And here is the final product in different lights. I hope you guys like it, and I hope to be back soon. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.